in case I get bored.
Oh,
Right,
thank you.
you're gonna have to change the oil in that clock, it's too slow.
Well, it is.
It is, and that one's just
When
a
did Randy sneak in here?
tad fast.
Oh, okay. There we go.
I didn't even look at the conflict. Did you have the Columbine on the conflict of interest paper that I signed?
We have what? Yeah, it was
We're,
on there.
it's with,
Was it on that?
it's withdrawn.
I saw that, but is that what I selected? Because I just assumed I selected the two things. And
By the clock I'm looking at, I see 6 o'clock, so I'm going to call the July 18, 2019 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. I would ask the commissioners to please have your microphone on and please speak into it when we're talking. And for those in the audience, if you hadn't already noticed, there are agendas and policy statements out on the table outside if you care to have them for the meeting. And also, if you do have cell phones, if you could put them on mute or turn them off, it'd be appreciated. Note for the record that in attendance tonight are all 7 of the Planning and Zoning Commissioners, along with Craig Collins and Dee Hardy of the staff and Wallace Trembeth of the City Attorney's Office. We also have in place of our regular council liaison, we have Councilman Bates in attendance, and I believe that's it for announcements. So with that, I would ask for approval of the minutes of the June 20, 2019 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Feth. Any corrections or additions?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to abstain as I missed last meeting.
Okay. Seeing or hearing no corrections or additions, please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
There's a place to push here. I'll vote for you, okay?
it's out there now.
With the exception of Commissioner Hine, Frank, and Wingeter, who abstain, the motion carries.
Thank you. We have 2 items on the agenda for this evening, PLN 1918RZ and PLN 1919C. And I'm going to reverse the order of those and with respect to which one we'll hear first. On 1919C, I understand staff has received a letter of withdrawal for this application, and I would ask our attorney if we need to take any action on that withdrawal or just recognize that it has been withdrawn.
Your Honor, just recognize that it's been withdrawn.
Thank you. Is there anything that staff wishes to add, or if not, that's fine. Okay, so 1919C has been withdrawn, so we'll move directly to PLN 1918RZ. And PLN 1919RZ is a petition to vacate and replat lots 1, 2, and 3, and the north 20 of lot, assume that's the north 20 feet of lot 4, block 95, Butler's Edition, as Johnny J's Edition, comprising 0.64 acres, more or less, and request for rezoning from C2, general business, and R3, 1 to 4 unit residential, to entirely C2 general business, located at 1705 East 2nd Street. The applicant being Johnson Restaurant Group, Johnson Investment Group. And prior to that, I would make a note that, well, with all the commissioners in attendance, it really doesn't matter, but if for any reason we were short any, that you could continue your request for another month, but that's not necessary tonight since we're all here. Do we have a staff report for PLN 1918RZ, excuse me?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Applications have been made to replat multiple lots in the Butler's Edition comprising 0.64 acres more or less to create a new single lot subdivision to be known as Johnny J's Edition to the city of Casper. The subject property is the location of Johnny J's restaurant, and it also includes a property directly to the south of the restaurant's parking lot access on South Elk Street. The lot to the south of Johnny J's is presently occupied by residential / professional office structure that is awaiting demolition. The property on which the residential professional office structure is located is zoned R3, and the balance of the lots are zoned C2. In that the proposed single-lot subdivision cannot have multiple zoning classifications, the applicants have applied for a rezone from C2 and R3 to entirely C2 general business. Future plans for the property are unknown at this time. However, any expansion of the restaurant and/or its parking lot farther to the south would require the submittal and approval of an amended site plan. And adequate buffering will be required between the restaurant site and the newly abutting residence. Mr. Chairman, we received 2 letters of public comment. We also have no recommended conditions of approval, and I'd like to enter 9 exhibits into the record. A is the replat application, B, vicinity map, C, copy of the plat, D, petition for a zone change, E, legal notice sent to the Star Tribune, F, notice of public hearing sent to property owners, G, public comment from Amy Geiske, 1620 and 1632 East 3rd Street, H, public comment from Melanie Schellberger, 214 South Kenwood Street, and I, memo to the chairman and members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. That concludes staff's report.
Thank you. And exhibits A through I are accepted for the record. And I'd note from my monthly trivia point that on one of the exhibits, the original plat was 1910, the Butler's Edition in Casper. And if you care to notice that the 3rd Street, what is now 3rd Street used to be 1st Street on the plat, and what used to be 3rd Street is now 1st Street, and all that. So it's interesting for those who are interested in Casper history trivia, like Vice Chairman Hine. I know he set up.
Point of order, I don't know if it matters that much. I'd have to leave it up to the attorney, but did you call roll call? And is that important before the meetings?
Commissioner Wingeter, we normally don't call roll call, but
I just wasn't sure if it was legally important or not. Okay, that's all.
okay. Okay, I now declare the public hearing open for consideration of case PLN 1918 RZ. I would also note the commissioners will be taking 2 votes on the matter. The one is the replat, and the other would be the zoning. The hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statutes, the rules of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and other applicable laws. I would ask the individuals who address the commission to approach the lectern, identify yourself, and please state your address. Would the person or persons representing case PLN 1918 RZ please come forward and explain the application?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I'm John Johnson, 1917 Rustic Court. I'm with Johnson Restaurant Group, Johnny J's Diner. And what we're wanting to do here is tear down the little house that's behind Johnny J's Diner. It used to be our office for years. And then we had it leased out to Loaf and Jug for a while. And we'd like to tear that down and make more parking behind the diner for guests and employees. And we're also going to scoot the parking that you currently see on the north side, where you see those cars. We're going to scoot that just a little bit further to the south, not much, a few feet, to facilitate a new walk-in cooler behind the diner. The walk-in cooler is only 8 feet wide, so it's not going to stick out much further than the old shed that's back there right now does. But we need more cooler space for our food, ice cream and stuff. So that was the motivation behind this request, and we haven't used that house. We haven't been able to get it released for a few months, and we thought it would serve us better as parking than it does as a vacant property.
Okay. Questions from the commission for Mr. Johnson?
Mr. Chairman? So,
Commissioner Ronnie.
Mr. Johnson, that building has already been demolished, has it not?
It was today, yes.
Yeah, I noticed that. So the plan is then to expand parking with the, okay, that was it?
Mr. Chairman, you're naturally going to put that white fence up against that house that's directly south of you.
We'll continue the privacy fence down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll submit a site plan
Yeah,
to
later.
the city for the improvements.
And he's got the buffer requirements on there.
Okay. Thank you. Any more questions for Mr. Johnson from the commission? Thank you. As required by state law, we invite people to comment in favor of or in opposition to all public hearings. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak either in favor of or in opposition to case PLN 1918 RZ? Seeing or hearing none, I declare the public hearing closed and advise the replat and zone change will be voted on separately. I'd entertain a motion to approve and forward to council with a due pass recommendation to deny or table case PLN 1918 RZ regarding the replat.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Wingeter.
I'll make a motion that we pass PLN 19018 RZ. Make a
I'll
motion.
second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Wingeter, seconded by Vice Chairman Hein. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner
just a
Feld.
comment. The letter of opposition, I think, talked primarily about the parking. And of course, the original proposal here did not explain what his purposes were. I think that with the explanation that he's going to be using for expanded parking, that should alleviate a lot of the parking problem that was addressed in that letter of opposition.
I would agree with that, Commissioner Feld. I'd also note that the letter of opposition with respect to the parking came from an individual living a block away, and I had trouble reconciling why that was an issue, but that's neither here nor there. Further comments or questions?
Just to clarify, at the present time, are we voting on just the replat?
We're voting on just the replat. Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
very much.
Hearing none, and the motion has been seconded, please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
Oops. Is it not working?
There you go.
With all members voting,
It's on now.
motion passes.
I could have told you that.
You have to talk to it.
I guess you have to.
Okay, motion passes. I would now entertain a motion to approve and forward to council a due pass recommendation to deny or table case PLN 1918 RZ with respect to the zoning change request. Do I have a motion for the zoning change?
So moved, Your Honor.
Moved by Commissioner Davis. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Feth. Discussion. My only comment would be that it seems like it makes sense, so that I didn't, certainly didn't see any problems with it. Further discussion? Hearing none, please cast your vote. And please record the vote.
Oh, yeah,
With all members voting aye, the motion passes.
it worked that time.
Yeah, it did.
Okay, that takes care of the two public hearing issues that were on the agenda. Thank you, gentlemen. I did notice on the agenda the council actions. We had two actions that the council acted on since our last meeting with respect to the rezone of 221, lots 221 and 227 is North Park Street from M1 to C2. And council also approved a replat to create the Fleming addition on Jane Street. And I guess I would ask at this time, Councilman Bates, if you have anything else to report to us or any information that you'd care to share with us.
Probably the only thing is the, on our consent item was, would you let me approach?
Please.
Would that be better? Sorry. I'm familiar with, terminology of that stuff, but I just know, on the consent was, for the North Casper, and so that was approved to move forward, for that to be brought to council, by the Casper Housing Authority on, I do believe it's August 6th would be the next meeting. So, other than that, that's all I have.
Okay. Are there any questions for our council liaison, our acting council liaison tonight from council or from commission? Thank you, Councilman Bates. OID Advisory Committee, Commissioners Feth and Vice Chairman Hine, do you have anything that you wish to share with us respect to the OID?
I've got a report on that. We met on July 1st, and the first item of business was the state office building. We received an update on that. It's progressing as planned, and the city and the state are holding meetings together on a regular basis to ensure compatibility with the concerns that the city would have for the building there. So they're making good progress on that. We also talked about the Plains building RFP. There was one response, and that was for a combined retail and residential unit, including 18 units. So it also tear down the livery stable to provide parking for the residents and employees. This was supposed to have come before the council on July 2nd. I assume it did. And that decision would be made in August. We also reviewed changes to sign regulations for the OYD district, were presented and discussed. We received many comments from members of the OYD Commission, and Craig Collins is going to compile the final proposal, and we'll email that to the members of OYD. You haven't done that yet.
Not yet, no.
And also, the final item is on the Midwest Avenue renovations. The city is applying for a $2 million federal grant to complete Midwest Avenue from Walnut to Poplar, and if that's approved, and once all the work is done there, that should complete the renovation of Midwest Avenue.
Thank you. I guess I would also take the liberty to ask you to maybe give us a report on the July 15th OID Oscar Award ceremony that was well attended and enjoyed by all.
That was a nice presentation.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice presentation.
If you haven't attended those are kind of fun and interesting to see how the committee perceives the area and how they can find the high spots and appropriately award those who are putting their time and effort into that project. So thank you all for who are involved in that. Commissioner Winger, do you have anything on the Historic Preservation Commission? I did see a note, I think, that
Mr. Chairman, I really don't, they canceled the meeting. There was nothing on the agenda, so they just canceled last month. Mr. Planner, did they, however, did they decide, they were talking about having a public meeting for that last survey that was, I haven't heard anything about the public meeting yet. Did they have?
We've run into a bit of a hiccup. Our consultant is, got some bad news with respect to her health, and she is let us know she's going to be unable to finish the project. So we're a little in limbo right now. That's one of the other reasons the meeting was canceled. It was kind of short notice that we're trying to pick up the pieces and complete it. I think she's got most of the written work done, but the public meeting portion is still in limbo.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, are there any other issues from the commission that you'd like to share with staff, the public, or the other commissioners? Seeing or hearing none, I'd make a note. I would ask if there's anybody in the public who has any wish to talk to the commission. Seeing none.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one thing.
Yes, Mr. Collins.
We have training scheduled Wednesday, the 24th, noon to 1. The topic will be an informal discussion of the city's recent efforts that you may have read about in the paper with regard to annexation of some areas around town. It's been kind of an abbreviated process, which we normally wouldn't keep the Planning Commission in the dark. However, we're going to try to get you up to speed and make you understand the time constraints trying to get those areas annexed before the census. So that's kind of what's going on. So we wanted to bring you up to speed. It will be a lunchtime meeting. We will provide lunch, and if we could get a head count right now, that would be really helpful.
Okay, I am planning on attending. That's the 24th, which is a week from yesterday, from noon to 1. So I'm planning on being there.
I'll be there too.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
I'll try my best.
All right, yeah. Well, that's great. Thank you.
Seven tries our best.
You want to go? Yes. All right.
Okay.
Yep.
With that, I'd make a note that our next meeting will be Thursday, August 15th at 6 p.m. here in council chambers. And if there's nothing else, I'd request a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner
Meeting.
Mr. Frank, motion to adjourn.
And I'll second that.
Commissioner Wingeter, seconds. All in favor, please signify by your note, by your button.
I didn't, not this time. I left it up.
Oh, I know.
Nobody's arguing.
With all members voting aye, the motion passes.
Okay. We thought
Okay.
you came to object to something.
Okay, and your name is? Morgan. You're Morgan, okay. So you cover the city council also? Okay.
Cool.
Well, glad to have you.
Well, we're not near as controversial as the city council, so.
Well, they get a lot more exciting now and then.
It can.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing yourself, Morgan.
I mean, well, the meeting's over.
Meeting's over.
Craig, could I ask you something about the streets, up in Waterford, up in my area of town in Waterford, there's that one, area by that Summit School that have those very narrow streets. Is that something that we might be, we gonna discuss something like that about the width of the street when we have?
I would rather not, but yeah, we can do that. There's quite a history there.
Oh, is there quite a history?
And it's done.
Yeah, it's done. It's
Is the history good or bad?
And for those bigger trucks on those turns, the roundies,
Well, if
roundabouts.
we're going to discuss that one, let's talk about Sweetbriar while we're at it, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Dee, you gotta pick these up?